without access to any external borders are now suffering the world's most tragic and unprecedented humanitarian crisis. As if Israel's brutal security measures over the years, including denial of access into and out of Gaza, with heavily barricaded and guarded fences, inhumane and brutal treatment at the various checkpoints spread all around Gaza, as well as controlled and limited access to vital necessities of life, like water, electricity, food, and medicine. As if all this is not enough, one of the most sophisticated military nuclear power state, Israel, has embarked on an all-out war of extermination of the entire population of Gaza, which it termed, they have termed the Palestinians in Gaza as human animals. Doctors, nurses, hospitals, medical personnel have been attacked. Ambulances, schools, UN shelters, refugee camps have all been deliberately targeted and destroyed by the Zionist Israeli regime. Vital resources like water, food, fuel, and generators have run out. In addition, journalists and other humanitarian workers, including staff of the United Nations and IRCRC, have been deliberately targeted and killed. Tragically, in the wake of these atrocities and war crimes, the Israeli government, as part of its earth-scorching ethnic cleansing policy, has the audacity and shameless, brutal arrogance to demand the expulsion of Gaza's 2.3 million civilians. This modern-day Holocaust by a terrorist state is being supported by the US, which is providing fuel, firepower, funds, and all the diplomatic coverage. And it is this modern-day catastrophe that will be a dent to our collective conscience as humanity. We welcome and salute global citizens in major cities across the world who have come out in large numbers to demonstrate and show courage over this extermination of the Palestinian people and stand in solidarity with them. No country in the world has ever demonstrated this level of arrogance and inhumanity and contempt for human beings, as well as rejecting implementation of 148 UN resolutions, except Israel. No other country. Thousands of Palestinians, including women and children, are being held in Israeli prisons without trial for long and indefinite periods, exposed to physical and psychological torture, rape, and solitary confinement. This conduct by Israel, supported principally by her US and other Western benefactors, will achieve its devilish intentions, and neither is it tenable. It will not achieve its devilish intentions, and neither is it tenable. Annihilation, ethnic cleansing, dehumanizing acts, brutality, policy of illegal settlements, and now efforts to exterminate the entire population of Gaza cannot guarantee security to the Jewish population of Israel. We unequivocally condemn this savagery and barbaric behavior by Israel and her collaborators, which is in stark violation of international law and complicates the search for a just and lasting solution. We express extreme grief with the situation and plight of the people of Gaza. We stand in firm and unwavering solidarity. And by Almighty God, we assure them that no situation is permanent and that freedom will be theirs, and that the heartless oppressors shall be vanquished. It has happened in Africa. Inshallah. We all went through the same brutal occupation by the West. We call on all nations of the world and people of conscience around the world to ensure the sanctity of Al-Aqsa Mosque and ensure that it's protected. Number two, to put all forms of pressure on the aggressor, Israel, and those supporting this aggression, so that they immediately cease the shelling, bombardment, siege, and blockade of Gaza and its population. Three, we call on the world also to open humanitarian corridor to the Gaza Strip as a matter of urgency. Number 4, restoration of vital supplies like water, food, medicine, fuel, and other essentials. Number 5, mobilize international relief and emergency services, and to immediately stop the forced expulsion of Palestinian families from their homes and threatening the closure of hospitals and United Nations shelters. We call for a legitimate, genuine, and durable solution to the Palestinian problem. I think we've had enough of Israel playing victim when Israel is the occupier, the brutal occupier of Palestine. Nothing short of full compliance with the numerous past UN resolutions leading to a two-state solution within the parameters of 1967 borders, culminating the Palestinian state with its capital as East Jerusalem, and the right of return of all Palestinian refugees to their free and independent homeland can guarantee security. Nothing short of that can guarantee security to all. Thank you very much, and signed on behalf of the team by Sheikh Abdullah Abdi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Below, members of the press. It is now more than 75 years since the first settlers, the first colonial Zionist settlers started settling in the land of Palestine. The Zionists moved on land which was not unoccupied, occupied by a people, started displacing them, and it still continues up to today. The most shameful thing which we witness today is one of the so-called superpowers, the American government, which claims that they carry the flag for democracy and human rights, has just mobilized one of its strongest fleet of aircraft carriers, submarines equipped with nuclear power, to come and support Israel, a country that they have given everything within its power. I don't know whether you're going to use the nuclear bombs on, or what those aircrafts are going to do, which the Israelis are not doing at the moment. Israel is just completely clearing the land of Gaza. The intention is to move the Palestinians in Gaza, who have been blockaded for the last 16 years, can't get out, and nobody can come in. Want to move them out of there now, force them into the Sinai desert, or force them to leave the country. They would rather die than live, and they are dying. They are dying in huge numbers, bombarded from the sea, from the air, and from the ground. The death already stands, more than 2,300. 40% of the death are small children below the age of 10. That speaks a lot. It is not the superpowers that will decide. It is the conscience of human beings who have got feelings that is going to prevail. The purpose of this meeting is to talk to the mind and heart of the world citizenry that there is extermination going on at the moment in the land of Palestine. Daily there is killing. A land which stretches only 25 miles by 12 miles,
half the size of Nairobi.
Half the size of Nairobi. We people are being told 1.1 million people to move out of it. Tell me, where do they move in? They cannot go into the sea. They cannot go to the southern border, sealed. They cannot go east. They cannot go west. So this is the reality of the day. We are calling upon the people of the world, Kenyans in solidarity for justice. It's not a question of who and who. It's a question of human being. It's a question of human being being killed for just being born a Palestinian and being born in Palestine. As Kenyans, we're going to take several actions to show solidarity with the people of Palestine. And we're going to start with a visit to the ambassador of Palestine, who is in Nairobi, to express our solidarity and our feelings for the people of Palestine. We are also going to raise funds for the victims. As most probably know by now, what has been cut off. Electricity has been cut off. Hospitals have been shelled. Israel has requested one of the biggest hospitals in the area to close down. And when people's houses and homes were destroyed, 300,000 people in Gaza sought shelter at the United Nations place. They have been told to shut down, and part of it has been shelled. 5 members of the United Nations staff have died. They have been directly targeting ambulances belonging to the Red Crescent. 5 of them have been put out of action. Several members of their staff have died. People have been told to move south. And as they are marching south, they are bombarded from the air. Several have died. So we are raising funds to give relief to these people who are suffering, hoping that the world will be able to impose some force to open some of these blockaded gates that food can get inside. We are also going to hold a demonstration in cities and different places in Nairobi as Kenyans to show our solidarity with these suffering people of Palestine. We will be having discussions and most probably giving a position of interfaith in this country and civil society and the various human rights workers. We are calling upon the National Assembly to immediately petition the Israeli government on what's doing at the moment and make sure that actually they stop this thing. We are calling upon the government of Kenya to break relations with Israel with immediate effect. Africa has spoken. Through the Africa Union, the position of the African continent is well known. The position of Africa is a free Palestine. Palestinian people given their rights to self-determination and to rule themselves. So that position makes Kenya an acceptable member of that resolution. And so we follow that resolution, and Kenya should stand with the people of Palestine. Finally, we call upon every person who sees this message to understand more on what's happening in Israel. There's a lot of negative messaging that's going on, but people who have got control of the media. But thank God, we are not living in the 19th century or 20th century. The network established, the social structure, the digital units, those can give us the right information of what's happening there. So please, we call upon all Kenyans to join us in this struggle. As you know, Kenya suffered for 70 years under colonial rule. It is the same colonial rule that has happened in Kenya, which is happening right now in Palestine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the press. I also join my other colleagues in condemning the atrocities which are being meted out to the innocent people, the Palestinians, who are fighting, struggling for their independence, just like any other country in this world has actually done. Any atrocity done to a people is supposed to affect everybody in the world. And we are calling upon all legitimate governments to dissociate themselves with the activities which are being meted out to the Palestinians by the Israeli government, supported by the American, because keeping quiet to such an injustice would mean you are supportive of whatever is actually happening. And anybody who is having his conscience would never allow such things to happen anywhere in this world today. especially in this 21st century. We are therefore calling upon all people of conscience to pray for the people of Palestinians in whatever is happening to them right now. Remember them in your prayers. Condemn the activities which are actually done by the heinous and ill-intentioned people in the name of Israelis and the Americans. We should never allow anybody to do such a thing. However small we may feel we are, but actually as human beings, that should actually be something to be condemned by all of us. We are also asking the Kenya government to dissociate themselves with the activities of the Israelis and civil relations, and if possible, send away the Israeli ambassador immediately and recall our ambassador in Israel to come back as a matter of solidarity to the people of Palestinians. We shall also make an attempt to call for an adjournment motion in the parliament to discuss what is happening in Palestinian as a matter of serious, of course, concern. Well, with those few remarks, I ask everybody once again to pray for the people of Palestine. They are undergoing situations which are not even imaginable in the minds of anybody. And let us pray that such a thing will never happen to any other society elsewhere in the world. Thank you very much.
We are really witnessing a terrible, horrendous, unparalleled and unprecedented humanitarian crisis provoked by the conflict that is now going on in Gaza, spearheaded by Israel. What we know so far is that there is no electricity, there is no water, there is no food or fuel going into Gaza. We also know that over 2,000 people have been killed, most of them women and children. 1 million people have been displaced in that small area of Gaza. And in addition to that, the Israeli government has made an unprecedented request or demand that 1.1 million people should leave their home areas and flee into the south. So what we are witnessing is a catastrophic humanitarian crisis of major proportions. We haven't seen it in recent times, and what we are calling upon the Israelis and their supporters is to stop the killings of innocent civilians. We are also urging them to stop the destruction of property and livelihood of the Palestinians in Gaza. We're urging them to lift the siege and allow humanitarian assistance and relief to reach the victims. Palestinians' lives matter. What is happening now, this mass atrocities, is crimes against humanity. It is a blatant and open and intentional violation of humanitarian law and international humanitarian law. And we're saying that, in fact, Hamas is not Palestine, and Palestine is not Hamas. Hamas did not exist in 1948, when 750,000 Palestinians were forcibly and brutally removed from their homeland by the Israeli Zionists. Hamas was not existent in 1997, when Israel occupied all the Palestinian land and continues to occupy that land. So what we are saying is that the world must put pressure on on Israel to stop the conflict, to stop Israel from violating the rights of Palestinians, and we stand in solidarity with the people of Palestine and particularly of Gaza at this most difficult time in their lives. And we urge the Kenyan government also to play a positive role by seeking solutions and calling for an immediate cessation of hostilities, allowing of humanitarian assistance, and the protections of innocent civilians from the horrendous conflict that is now going in that part of the world. Thank you. Do you have questions?
Inshallah. Hapa mbele yenu kuna viongozi wa kisiasa na viongozi wa kijamii na viongozi wa kidini. Msimamo wetu ni kuwa yanayoendelea katika mji wa Gaza kwa maafa wanaoyapitia kutoka kwa wazayuni wa Israeli kwa kukatazwa maji na chakula na madawa na matibabu na kuwafurusha watu katika mji wao na kuwatoa huku wakiwaua kutoka angani na ardhini na baharini, ni jambo ambalo tunalikemea kama viongozi na hatulikubali litokee katika karne hii ya 21. Ni jambo ambalo tulilikemea kama vile tulivyokemea vita vya Ukraine na uvamizi wa Ukraine na Russia, na vile vile tunakemea uvamizi wa nchi yote kuvamia nchi nyingine. Wananchi wa Palestine na wananchi wa Gaza, wao wanapigania nchi yao na wao wanapigania uhuru wao waweze kujitawala kama vile nchi nyingine duniani. Ikiwa nchi ya Palestine imeweza kupewa kiti katika United Nations, ni wakati walimwengu wote waungane pamoja kukubaliana katika civilized world, katika ulimwengu uliostaarabika. Wakati umefika nchi ya Palestine iweze kutambulika, na tunaliunga mkono lile ambalo walimwengu watalikubali, nao ni kuweko nchi mbili, two state solution, ambazo zitamaliza majanga na maafa ya wananchi wa Israel na wananchi vile vile wa Palestine. Wananchi wa Palestine ni wanyonge, hawana ndege, hawana submarine, hawana marines, hawana jeshi. Ni wananchi ambao wanapigania haki zao za kutawala, na hili ni jambo ambalo linakubalika katika nchi zote, Afrika, Asia, Amerika, South America. Msimamo wetu sisi hapa ni kuwa nchi yetu ya Kenya, na wito kwa rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya asichukue vita hivi na mgogoro huu kwa ajili ya maslahi yake yeye au maslahi ya jambo lolote. Ni jambo la maslahi ya wanadamu na ulimwengu mzima. Tulifurahishwa na msimamo wa rais wa Afrika Kusini uliosimamisha kuonyesha wazi kuwa Waafrika wanatetea haki za wanyonge. Na ikumbuke kuwa ikiwa msimamo uliochukuliwa katika nchi hii kuwaunga wazayuni mkono ni kuonyesha wazi kuwa tumekosa mwelekeo wa kibinadamu, ule wito wetu wa Hustler Nation haufanani na msimamo wa serikali wa kuegemea upande mmoja bila kuangazia haki ya wanyonge ambao ni hustlers wa Palestine wanaodhulumiwa
na majumba yao kuvunjwa, tunasikitika msimamo uliochukuliwa kupitia kwa Twitter, na sasa hivi tunaomba vile vile msimamo uwe wazi wa kubainisha Wakenya wanasimama na wanyonge, kwa sababu taifa hili ni taifa la hustlers. Asanteni.
Thank you.
Ngoja. You want to ask questions?
You diluted. How are you?
Fine, brother.
Very good.
Only 3 questions, but before that, just want to introduce all of them right now, so that you all right. Is that okay? So I'm going to start from the far end. That's Colonel Musa, Executive Member of the National Muslim Leaders Forum. So you guys can see, members of the state, for the state. For that, I'm just doing the introduction right now, so that this will be a dinner. Colonel Musa, the far end. Executive Member of the National Muslim Leaders Forum. We have Honorable Arbele Masalimo, former Member of Parliament, Lasamis constituency. We have Honorable Bilo Kero, the Majlis Member Jamia Mosque. I hope you're right here. Must have to the Badai. That's Honorable Bilo Kero, Majlis Member Jamia Mosque. We have Honorable Mohammed Faki.
Omar Mwinyi.
Omar Mwinyi. We have Honorable Omar Mwinyi. I mean, he's a household name, well known, right? We have Sheikh Abdullah Abdi. He's the chairperson of National Muslim Leaders Forum. Of course, you know Mushimio, right? Mushimio Yusuf Hassan, Member of Parliament from Mukuji. We have Sheikh Ahmed Man. He's the Imam Landis Mosque. And we have Mr. Hassan here. He's the Nairobi chairperson of Council of Imams and Preachers of Kenya. Now behind you we have other imams, we have Muslim leaders, we have business leaders as well, members of the state, members of the fourth estate, as you can see. Behind you we have other Muslim leaders who have also come to join in solidarity with the leaders who are giving the first. Now we're going to give only 3 opportunities for questions only. Just 3 because of time, so present. Yes, so just start by your name, and the question has to be related to the subject matter, please. Thank you.
Let me should change from this.
Very good.
I have 2 first questions. One, you are talking about Palestinian women and children. Are there also women and children who died in Israel? Question 2, and where do you place their deaths and who killed them? Question 2, religious leaders, the last week, the Christian side and the religious leaders talked about strictly Israel. Today you're talking about Palestine. Don't you think as religious leaders, you're supposed to unite this country? But if this thing is taking religious conflict and it may divide the country.
Okay.
Second one.
You just take all of them on a
Yeah.
Can't hear you properly. Just raise your voice.
Just take your name again and go ahead. Let's begin. Yes, sister.
Didn't hear at all.
From TV47, she's asking when the demonstrations will be happening.
Okay. Let me attempt to answer the question from my brother here, first of all. What we are addressing is human beings' concern. Justice is justice, irrespective of whether somebody is an Israeli or whether he is a Palestinian. So what we are addressing is the suffering of the people of Gaza who have been blockaded, who have been denied water. Water is life. They have been denied water. They have been denied electricity. They have been denied food. So they are completely boxed in an area that they are supposed to die. That is the intention. So our plight is for those people. On the issue of Israel and Palestinians, the history speaks about itself. Palestine was not a land that was empty and people came and settled. It has been occupied for so many thousands of years before the issue of Israel and Palestinians came up. But the land was invaded later on by outsiders from Russia, from Europe, from America. 99% of the people who claim to be Palestinian Israelis today are people who have got dual citizenship. Whereas the Palestinians, the people of the land, who are born there for generations, they are being pushed out of their homes and they are becoming displaced and refugees in their own land. So that's first of all the position. As far as women and children are concerned, the position of Islam is absolutely clear, and we are Muslims. Under no circumstances should the blood of the innocent be shed, irrespective of who they are. That's what we stand for. We don't advocate for the killing of any human being who is innocent. But Islam allows for you to stand for your rights. If your land is being taken, you fight back. Thank you. Our other brother's question, did somebody else take it? Below. Yes, below.
Oh, you said about security. Security risk. Security risk.
Yes.
Yeah, the gentleman asked about the question of security, because Americans have announced that some travel advisory to their citizens in parts of Nairobi. And this demonstration, would it create more insecurity? This is what you are asking. I think everyone has a right. In the US, they're demonstrating all over the world. People who have that humanity, consciousness, they are demonstrating all over in support and in solidarity with the Palestinians. This is what we're going to do. Americans, the government is the one that is causing insecurity in the world. What they are doing in Israel today is going to affect the entire world security. They know it. And so it is them who should be telling us about security of the world. But otherwise, Kenyans who will come out to stand in solidarity like it's happening in all the capitals of the world everywhere, that is not going to affect them. We're going to speak out and say we stand with the Palestinian people in any demonstration that we're going to do in the course of hopefully next week.
The last question by our sister, when will the demonstration take place? It will be very, very soon. We are going to announce the date. We are going to follow the normal procedures of notifying the authorities that are concerned. On this issue about the alert, in English they say, the guilty are afraid. Terrorism is being manufactured by America. That's why they are so much afraid. When you go and stand up with an oppressor, the oppressed will fight back. That is what is breeding right now, what they're calling terrorism. So they have to fear. So that is the position, absolutely clear. If you look at what has happened in Afghanistan, the millions who have lost their lives, caused by who? By the Americans. If you look at Iraq, more than 1 million people died. Who caused it? Americans. Who is killing people in Syria today? Americans. So basically, history will judge them. History will judge them that actually in this particular era, they are the ones who bred the highest number of terrorism, even amongst themselves. Thank you. We want to stop there. We thank you for coming, all of you, and we hope that you're going to join us in this struggle of supporting the weak in the world. Thank you very much once again.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن